Oh hey guys, and welcome to a brand new tag video. So yes, new tag. New tag is a thing that's happening. I was a part of creating this tag along with Katie from over at Chapter Stacks. Katie came up with the good idea of calling this the Nsfw tag, or the Not Safe for Work tag. I think everybody knows that acronym by now. But yes, this is basically a tag to show off some of the more deplorable and maybe nasty books that you have on your bookshelf. There are going to be 10 questions overall. I shall get to them right now. And then once you're done with that, you should pop over to Katie's channel and check out her video too. So the first question is going to be, what would be the last book that you would want your parents to walk in on you reading? Now for this, I decided to go with any book in the 50 Shades of Grey series. Now I'm not really knocking this book. I mean, I have read some of it and I do know the writing is not quite the best, but I do understand the appeal of a guilty pleasure read. I have many of them myself, as I'm sure you guys do. But the reason I put this is because my sister and my mother have both read this book. They both loved it, and I took the piss out of them for reading it. So if they walked in on me reading this, there would be hell to pay. There would be hell. While I won't read this book, however, I probably will watch the movie because Jamie Dornan. Just saying. Question 2 is, it is storming outside and you're completely alone. What book would make matters worse? I'm trying to find a sort of scary read, but in truth, I don't think I've ever really been scared by a book. So because of that, I decided to go with the work of Jack Ketchum. I have mentioned him before on this channel. Well, I think he is an author who focuses on the real deplorableness, is that a word? I think it is a word, of sort of human nature. He really sort of makes you think the worst of the human race. And I think if I was in the middle of a storm and I was home alone, I would probably worry that some of the cannibals featured in this book would just sort of break into my home and eat me for no real reason. Question 3 is, have you ever read a book simply because of the controversy surrounding it? There are quite a few books I have read because of controversy. Some are obvious, like American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. For this question, I decided to go with Hurt by Tabitha Zuzuma. I heard this was about a very polarizing topic, but basically everyone who mentioned it said they couldn't give it away because it would sort of ruin the shock and surprise of the story. So while it does deal with a particularly controversial storyline, I sort of wanted to read it to know what that controversial thing was. Overall, I am really glad I read it because I did enjoy it as much as you can for something with this subject. But yes, that is my book that I read simply because, maybe not controversy, but because of the controversial aspect of it. Number 4 is, what is the most cringe-inducing sex scene or romance you have ever read? For most cringe-inducing sex scene, I have to go with my girl Anita Blake. I mean, she has done some pretty cringe-inducing stuff. I mean, lots of orgies. I mean, lots and lots and lots of orgies. I mean multiple orgies per book. I know there was one where I believe she was having sex with a werewolf when he was sort of mid-transformation. Why do I continue to read these books? This is... it's porn. So yeah, definitely cringe-inducing. Number 5 is, what book has made you question the author's sanity? For this one, I did decide to go with American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. All Bret Easton Ellis books are pretty fucked up, to be quite honest, but this one sort of takes that and runs with it. I think this is possibly one of the most controversial books of all time. It's extremely messy. There is a lot of badly written porn. There is a lot of violence. Interestingly, with the sex scenes, he actually used excerpts from actual porn magazines in his work, and it's pretty hardcore. But yes, after reading this, I definitely would not want to meet Bret Easton Ellis in a dark alley. But then again, maybe I would. He's one of my favourite authors. Maybe he would be perfectly nice and just give me an autograph, instead of, you know, slaughtering me and possibly raping my corpse. Number 6 is going to be, have you ever put down a book because the content was too much for you? For this one, there has been one book, and that is going to be Tampa by Alyssa Nutting. This is sort of a book involving paedophilia. I'd heard it a lot mentioned in the vein of Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita. It basically deals with a young, attractive school teacher, like 25 years old, who basically has a hunger for 14-year-old boys. The concept was going quite far to begin with, but I just didn't feel that it had any redeeming features to make me slog through it. So I actually put this down with about 100 pages to go. I wouldn't recommend it. Number 7 is going to be, what book character do you have the most not safe for work thoughts about? I struggled with this question because I'm not someone who necessarily does get that attached to characters, but then I remembered my Dmitri. Dmitri Belikov from Vampire Academy series. He's, well, attractive, and he's got that accent, which always helps. Also helps that in my head I picture him as Sebastian Stan, so who's not going to be attracted to that? Number 8 is simply show us your most not safe for work book cover. For this one, I went with my good old friend Laurel K. Hamilton, and I went with A Stroke of Midnight, part of her Meredith Gentry series. This is a woman's boobs, and she has barbed wire as a necklace. Maybe this should be the one I wouldn't want my parents walking in on. I suppose I could just take off the dust jacket. But seriously, I mean, not even subtle. Number 9 is, have you ever read anything from the erotica or romance subgenre, and what did you think? Me and erotica are not the best of friends. I have read a couple, but overall I just don't think they are for me necessarily. I think I've read about 3 total. The one I read most recently was Hothead. See what they did there? And it was basically an erotic story about firemen. And that is basically the end of my answer. Number 10 is you stumble across a portkey. I should be so lucky. Which world would you not want to be transported to? For this one, I struggled again. There is just so much to choose from, especially in YA dystopians and stuff like that. But in the end, I decided to go with the world of Unwind by Neil Shusterman. This is basically the novel where if you get to the age of 16, I believe, and your parents don't like you, they can have you unwound, which is basically like aborting you once you've already lived for 16 years. I think this would be the worst world to live in, not only because of the concept of unwinding, but the rejection from your parents. It would all be very, very, very traumatic. So there we have it. That is going to be the end of the not safe for work tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to tag quite a few people. I will leave them all linked below. I'll simply compile a list of people later. If you would like to do this tag, I will leave all the questions in the down bar, and don't forget to also go check out Katie's video, which will also be linked below. But there we have it. That is the end of the tag. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I shall see you soon with another video. Goodbye.